Hey everybody. So my stamps have dried and so I've got these stamps that we just made in part 1 and I have this is some this is some paper that my friend gave me a while back. It's nice heavy duty. I couldn't tell you the size right now, sorry. Um And then I've got my acrylic paints that I want to use up that I've had for quite a while, and they're so little, and I don't know. I want to get new ones. So I want to use these up before I buy any new ones, and I don't want to use my good paints, like my dilutions, for something like this. I'm probably going to spread this out. And use part of this over here on the left as my paint palette. Just because I'm working opposite of what I normally do. And I want you to be able to see what I'm doing here. So I learned this technique from Shannon Green. And basically, I don't know if she calls it, you're building a rainbow. She calls it unicorn papers. And I'm going to show you first how I get the background of my painty papers. And then I'm going to switch over and we're going to use the stamps with the paper over here on the left. Hopefully I'll have some paint left over after kind of just giving you a quick rundown. So I'm going to start with red. I'm going to put this here. And I want to leave some room because I want to drag it with, excuse my arm, my credit card thingy or this. And these are getting really low, which I'm happy about because I want to get the bigger tubes. So we got some red. Again, we're just painting the rainbow. And orange. And I'm going to use two different yellows. I'm going to use, hopefully you can see this. Like a orange yellow. You really do want them to touch. The red and orange aren't touching. I should have put them closer. And here's a brighter yellow. You want to do about the same amount. Here's a light green. Oops. Just regular grass green. And then we've got the blues, which I'm going to do like the turquoise aqua blue. What is this one? We've got like a Prussian blue. This is coral tea blue. These are Pro Art paints. And then we're going to go to a purple. So there's my rainbow. I'm all out of white in this size, so I do have a bigger white that was on sale at Hobby Lobby a couple weeks ago. So there's my rainbow. Okay. And let's say this is my painty paper. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my little card, and you can use anything. Hopefully you can still see that. Nope, you can't. Okay. I'm going to switch this. We're going to spread out the ink. Okay, so I'm just going to pull Shannon Green. I learned this from her. Pull the paint down like that, and then I'm just going to start to swish this, clean off my tool here. This is just a little plastic card. Can't remember where it came from. Okay, and now I'm going to pull these. I'm trying to make just a palette here that I can stamp on. But this is how I start with the painted papers. you know, they're a backdrop for any project that I'm working on, and then they just let them build up. And then we'll do the purplies. Okay, so I'm going to set this out of the way for a second and finish off this. See, I want to get some on the other papers to start that. And that's just kind of how you build it. If you've got an art journal around and you want to throw some paint in that, you could do that. I've got a vent right down here, so I'm going to throw that on the floor there. And just clean the rest of this off on here. There. Okay. Let's bring the rainbow back now. Okay, so here's the rainbow. And I'm just going to show you this part. I do have a little bit of water here because as I'm moving around, you just might want to wet it just a little bit. And then don't touch it. Okay. Dab off the water. It's not a bad idea to have a dry paper towel around. This is how you get those dry baby wipe, dry paper towel backgrounds. Okay, so I just want a little bit of moisture on there just to keep it damp. Okay. And then I'm going to we're going to start with some of these smaller painting papers just so you get the idea. Okay, so again, I showed you some of these in the first video. These I feel are done. Okay, these I want to add a little something to. These are book pages, and they just got paint slapped on them. Alright, so again, I've got my rainbow here, and you could do this with black paint, you could do this with white paint, and I want to add some circles. So I'm going to start by dabbing the circles. Just keep going. And if you get a little bit on there, you don't like that, wipe it off. If you don't care, just stamp it down. And I'm just going to do some stamping. Okay. So, my opinion, that's too dark on here. So set that aside, and I'm going to find a lighter paper. We've got one right here that started. Okay. So it's got, as you can see, I must have used this during Valentine's when I did those ATCs. So that's this kind of paper. And I might as well just add some color to it and use this. So, we're going to stamp some circles. Just all over. I want some over here. So be prepared to kind of flip your paper around or have a really huge table space that you could be working on. Okay, I think that's enough circles for me. Now let's go with the shape. And we'll start with, we still got, you know, a pretty good paint palette here. It's still pretty moist. It takes a couple coatings to get the foam first started. But after, I think, once they start to get kind of like cured. I mean, these are, probably could have used doubled up on the shapes maybe next time. I don't know. I think they're working okay. Ooh, I like that. Just kind of flip the paper around. And I want to stay away from the big blobs because the big blobs are what I'm going to keep pulling the paint down for. Oops. So, yeah. Okay. Now, let's try the triangle shape. And I want a little bit more fresh color. So I'm going to pull a little bit of that, and I'm just going to scrape that on here as well. You could air dry it if you wanted to, but I really don't. I think these acrylic paints dry very quickly. I mean, I want to try to avoid like this nice circle right here. That's got kind of a blob of paint, so... but here at least I pulled some color down. Get a little bit more color here. Just keep going around and filling in the white space. Overlapping colors is fine. Make sure you've got enough drop cloths underneath. So there we go. I'll zoom out just a little bit. I'm so sorry. There. Okay. So I'm going to let this one dry now. As you can see, we've stamped circles and some of those little flowers, and I've dragged some paint across. And then we're going to go back to this one, which we started out with. And I'm going to take the squares now. We're going to go over. I'm going to try not... It's still damp enough where I didn't need to spray again. I don't want it too juicy. There. Okay. I don't know if you can see that or not. And then we're just going to stamp down. And just move the page. Oops. Turn the page and go in the blues. Excuse my arm. That's pretty. They're working pretty good, guys. I hope you give this a try. You get the picture. So I'm just going to go along. I'm going to try to take my triangle and go right in the green. I think, you know, give it a try. I'm going to go through and do some stamping of all the shapes and just kind of alternate between a bunch of different papers that I've already started. In the end, this will become a fabulous start to a painty background, and it will be perfect for like St. Patrick's Day theme background paper. The pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Yeah. So that's what I'm thinking with that one. I'm going to continue, and I guess I'll come back for either a continuation of part 2 here or a part 3. All right, have fun, you guys. And on this one, you can see I did the leaf, the circles, some of the petals, whatever shape that is. This one, I started to do like that, I don't know, mountain shape, triangular shape, this thing. But it didn't show up, so I'm going to go back over this with like black or white maybe. Here you can see some of the flowers and circles. Lots of flowers actually. This one, I used this, which didn't really care for a whole lot. This one is flowers and ovals, the diamond or diamond shape, or flowers and ovals, circles. I like this one. This one turned out pretty good. Here again, I think the flowers are my favorite. Did some of the squares. Ooh, I do like the squares. I'll have to do more of those. There. And then in between, I just splashed the paint on. And at the very end, I just spread this out. So this was my paint palette, which is now the start of a really pretty painty paper background. So I just have to do like around here. Yeah. And then this was just another sheet that I just spread extra paint on that was left over on the wax paper on here. So now I'm going to go back through, or now what I'm going to do is, on these that I did last night, that have the bubble wrap white on them, I might go through and stamp some black stamps. So stamp some of these in black acrylic paint. And then some of these. So that's what I do next. This one I'm going to do the white acrylic paint with stencils. So I'm going to switch it up a little bit. These are stencils I got from Michael's a long while back, about a year ago. They're pretty flimsy, but I should be able to sponge through with the acrylic paint. And so, yeah, that's what I'm going to do next. So we're going to start with the stamped background with the black acrylic. And I'm going to use this as my backdrop paper. We're going to start with these small ones. I'll put the magazine ones aside. Some I might not mark up. Let's see here. So, we've got the black acrylic and okay. So, I'll just squeeze some black acrylic paint on there. And then again, excuse my arm, kind of spread it out with a tool or something, a brush, whatever you have. Okay. I do have baby wipes handy as well, so every now and then when this gets too gunked up, I do take a wet baby wipe to it. I just kind of go like that. Set it aside. All right. So we'll start with this little one here. And I think we'll go with the triangle or the squares. So I've got about that much coverage. And we're just going to go and randomly mark this. I like that touch of black. There. So you get the idea. And then set those aside. We'll do one of these book pages. So they already have, if you don't have white acrylic paint, you could use white gesso. If you don't have white gesso, whatever you want. If you don't have black acrylic paint, you could try doing it, I don't know, with a stays-on ink pad or archival ink pad of some sort. Alright, let's switch shapes a little bit. And if you go back over it, it just kind of picks up some of that paint and adds a little bit more whatever around it. It's getting the line of that, which is fine. And basically I've just been kind of leaving these dry upside down like this. Okay. I actually like this one, so I'm going to leave this one. And we'll do that one. I think on this one I will use the circles. So this is starting to get wet and soggy. This is pretty thin paper that I've got this black paint on. Should have probably thought that through better. There, just add a few little black circles to this one. I like that. I do like some of these. Look, I like this one, so I am going to leave that. Start a pile of finished ones. This one I like as well, so I'm going to leave this one. This one could use some black. This one could use a little bit more black. This one, I'm going to leave that one. I'm going to add something to that one. Add something to that one. I like this one as is. I like that one as is. That one I'm going to leave. Yeah. Okay, so I've got some that I'm keeping. And who knows, I may stop and save some along the way. So I've already got circles on this one. I think I'm going to take a little bit of water. Now you see how I've got this overlapping this other paper? Because this is super thin. I'm going to just put a little bit of water on here. Try to liven that paint back up a little bit. Spread it out a little bit thinner. It's really watery. Oops. But again, I'm just spreading out the paint. Let's try some triangles with this one. Okay, so that's about the coverage I got. And I want to go over. I could almost use a third layer because I keep getting my fingers in it. I got some triangles on that one, which, it's okay. I don't mind it. Let's try the flower in black on this one. So I think I'm going to add a little bit more black acrylic paint on top of that watery. A bit closer. Spread that out. Next time I'll have to switch paper because this is getting pretty damp. I'll just turn it to the other side. Okay. So we're going to take the flower. Yeah, that's good, pretty. That's good coverage. All right. Let's see what happens. I don't mind that it has that framer on there. I kind of like it. I mean, I prefer that it didn't, but for homemade stamps, what do you expect? There. That's kind of cool. Let's do more flowers. I like the flowers. Oops. There. That's pretty. So you get the idea. I'm going to go switch back and forth between black and white paint at this point. I'll come back on, actually, just the black paint. I'll come back on when I get to the white stenciling part. All right? See you.